Welcome to the Gamer and the Weeb podcast, the only podcast that hasn't even reached its final form. I'm your host Ryan, here with my co-host Leo. What's going on, my dude? What are we talking about today?
Today we are going to talk about a pretty quick one, which is pretty much our top 5 anime MCs. And for those of you who don't know what MC means, it means main character. Pretty much our top 5, characters that we feel left an impact on us throughout our time watching the show. So these are the shows that pretty much, I guess, are good at main characters, because I know there's some bad ones like Blue Exorcist doesn't have a good MC, if I'm being honest. So sorry to all those Blue Exorcist fans.
I can't. I mean that's really the only one I can think of off the top of my head that's not really good. I can't think of any other blonde hair, orange jumpsuit wearing bad protagonist. You better believe. You better believe it, buddy.
I love how you just said it so casually too. All right, so uh, I'll start off my list. A pretty strong one. I'm gonna go with, of course, he won the best boy in the anime Crunchyroll's awards, and that's our main guy from Demon Slayer, Tanjiro. Tanjiro is pretty much,
Genpakato, right?
yes. So pretty much he's one of the most hardworking MCs I've seen in anime. Like, he would do anything, and I mean he would literally do anything to protect his sister and to bring her back to being human from a demon. Like, he would go to lengths just to do stuff like that. And he's also just a wholehearted good boy. Um, he does remind me a bit of like Deku, which I got a lot of vibes from. But I guess he is a little different because he has, I guess, empathy for the demons he kills if he knows of his sad backstory. Um, and then he's also part of, like, probably one of the best trios to ever grace anime.
I agree with that, dude. Definitely one of the best trios to ever grace anime.
Yep. I mean, of course, Inosuke is the best character in the whole show, but he's not an MC. He's a side character. We'll probably end up doing our top 5 side characters, in the future, but just know that Inosuke was going to be for sure on that top 5 list. But pretty much Tanjiro's you're good. You're good boy. He's wholehearted. And you could bring him home to your family, you know? That sounded kind of gay, but hey. but but that's all I can say about Tanjiro. What's your number 5, Ryan?
Okay, so I'm also starting off pretty strong, and I kind of broke up my list into like I think there's kind of like five types of main characters in anime, and so I think that each one of my top five kind of represents one of those five, at least for shonen. So my first one is kind of going to be representative of like the hardworking, um, the hardworking class. Like, that would be like your Goku's, your Naruto, because same person. Your your Tanjiro, your
My
characters
God.
that just work hard, And so I'm starting off with Deku, and I think there's no better character who fits the hardworking aspect of an anime character better than Deku. And what I mean by that is a lot of people will be like, "What do you mean he's like just green Naruto?" Because I've seen that joke go everywhere,
And then you could clap back saying Naruto is pretty much Goku, so.
Yeah. So everyone goes like, "Oh, he's just green Naruto." I actually think he's very different from Naruto, and there's a lot of reasons why. One, he does start off way softer than than Naruto, and that actually plays into his benefit because eventually he becomes tough. And so that's what I know you Naruto fans don't understand it, but that's called character development. And Deku goes through a bunch of that through either him being really sad to really tough, or the way he fights and the way he's not an exact copy of his predecessors. Like if you look at, I'm just gonna keep comparing him to Naruto because that's the number one thing you always see online is he's Green Naruto. So Naruto has the Rasengan. His predecessors Minato and Jiraiya, uh, both, and even Kakashi, both, all three of them use the Rasengan. So very original. And now Deku does say smash, but he uses his legs, which is different from how Alma uses the Korg. So that gives him a bit of uniqueness and not as bland as some other main characters. He's also earned every single thing he's gotten in the show. People will say he was given one for all, but him basically sacrificing himself to go save Bakugo when he was a quirkless boy didn't didn't mean he got given that quirk. It means All Might saw how heroic Deku was and wanted to give him that power because he saw himself inside of Deku. So he was like, that boy deserves this ability. And ever since then, he's been actually working to develop and sharpen the quirk and make it his own so it actually is good. And that's just one of the reasons that he's on my top 5 list. And he only made 5 because his story isn't really over yet. And so
but
that's why
also,
he's number 5.
yeah, but also because like it's does play a little bit part of like so like I'm gonna go off the grid a little bit, but when it comes to Spider-Man, like the reason why people like that's origin story is because it pretty much tells you anyone could have been Spider-Man. That spider could have landed on anyone, bit them, they have Spider-Man powers. And the same role I believe is for Deku because All Might already had a list of who he was planning on giving the power to. So like Mario was for sure on the top of his list, and I remember after the you know like the little the UA that little like Olympic game stuff, and pretty much like Deco saying there's so many powerful people out here, like how can you gave it to me? And All Might goes, yeah, true. Like Todoroki would have been OP as hell if he had all one for all, because even Bakugo would have been OP as hell too. And he was like, but honestly, like you have the heart of a hero, which is why I chose you. So the reason why is because Deku has more heart than the other characters that he had on his list. I mean, like you could argue with Lemillion, but like All Might was already planning on giving it to someone else, but Deku ended up being the one because he ended up stepping up to the game. So
But what I like is that people do draw the comparison, like why he chose Deku over Lemillion. And I know you don't really like this, but when I first read it, I was like I really liked it. And it was someone said the reason All Might was more comfortable choosing Deku than Muriel is because Muriel only wanted to save 1 million people, whereas Deku always wants to save everybody. And that's how All Might is he wants to save everybody. That's why in season 1 on his he wasn't at the USJ ready to fight the Nomo at the very beginning because he wasted all of his time saving everybody on his way to the USJ. But that's like the first arc where he fights the Nomu. Just to further point out the fact that that's why Deku was chosen to wield One for All is because he's got the heart of a hero, heart of a symbol of peace, whereas Mirio does have the heart of a hero, could be symbol of peace, but there's no doubt when people look at Deku, like that's the symbol of peace, like that's a hero, my hero, academia.
okay,
What's your
well,
number 4? Before
well.
before I kill it with all these cringe jokes, what's your number 4, dude?
So my number 4, um, this is one for Ryan. This is like for my boy Ryan right here. My number 4 is Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. For nowadays, for sure underrated. No one talks about it as much. I'm pretty sure it was back in the day, but since anime is getting such a huge, follow growth at the moment, Cowboy Bebop is for sure on there as one of the most underrated shows at the moment. And Spike is just so he's pretty much one of those laid back characters that pretty much just chill and is like, yeah, like I have no powers, but like I'm one of the best like spacecraft drivers like ever to grace this fucking this anime, of course. And then he's like very kung fu like, and I remember Ryan was telling me he was inspired by Bruce, I believe it was Bruce Lee. So that's when you see him fighting, he's like over here doing fucking blocking shit, parrying, doing these fucking flips, kicking. Like his first fight was solely on how he is. Like it's so badass because like the whole point was of course he's a bounty hunter. So the first episode was just him trying to catch a bounty. This one guy was selling these kind of things like drug enhancements, and pretty much Spike's like was like acting like a buyer, and he had like a little poncho with a sombrero, and then he's like, hey, and he's like, remember me? and like he fucking throws a little drug in the air and just shoots it easy, like a little flick, like a western, and just kicks off like one of the best like introductions to a show, which is like the way he was fighting him. Like he was like dancing around when the jazz was playing. He was dancing as he was fighting. He was like having fun, smiling, smirking, and I like those moments like when animes people are fight or not anime the MCs are fighting and they're all cocky and like yeah we got this shit and they actually win. I love Dragon Ball, but I hate how Goku fucking always loses when he has his ultimate power. But whatever. But with Spike, he's like he pretty much wins pretty much every fight. I think there's only like a handful that he actually loses. Like or ends up in like in a stalemate, like it's just a draw. Like one of my favorite episodes was when he was going against the cowboy bounty hunter, and they're like the exact same person, and like I love the way seeing Spike play off to someone who is that acts just like him, and he acted like a whole different person because he was pissed off, like and like you never really saw that until like up to that point, but Spike's one of those very cool, studdy looking dudes. Wears a suit, smoking a cig, gets bitches. He's about to freaking slam Faye, but of course, spoiler alert, he goes to get something done, and bang. That's all I'm gonna say. But that's my number four, Spike Spiegel.
Yeah, so couldn't agree with you more. Spike Spiegel's such a badass. So my number four is I'm pretty sure this guy will be somewhere on Leo's list because he loves this guy, but he's gonna come in at number four for me. I got Edward Elric, and like how I said before, like Deku's the hardworking. I think I'm not saying that Edward is not hardworking. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is he kind of has more of a understanding and like kind of like a sacrifice iota of him. Like he understands like that everything has a cost. Like another character that's like this is like um is Aaron from Attack on Titan. He understands that everything he does has a consequence. And I think that Edward understands that too, especially with alchemy. That he really understands, like, oh, everything has a consequence, and that plays into his character very well. To where it's him trying to help him and his brother trying to get their bodies back. So they think the Philosopher's Stone is going to help them get their bodies back, but then they find out that the Philosopher's Stone was made by sacrificing humans, and that that's like totally against what they're all about. And they're like, no, like we can't do that. We swear off using Philosopher Stones, and we're not going to use the Philosopher's Stones all the way up until the end, which is my favorite, one of my favorite moments in all of anime for sure, and definitely my favorite moment in Full Metal is when he's talking to the Truth, and he's like, "What do you sacrifice? What's your equivalent exchange to get your brother's body back?" And he gives up the like pretty much the ultimate power, which is alchemy, to get his brother's body back. So he's willing to sacrifice what pretty much makes him unique in this world of badassness to just save his brother. And if that doesn't speak volumes about a main character, I don't know what does. Edward is so cool. When even when he had alchemy, he had the metal arm and he could turn into a weapon. He was just so cool, and he was one of the first characters I ever really related to because he was short and I'm short, and so people would always make fun of Ed for his height, and I was like, same dude, like I get it. And so I really connected with him on a wavelength, and that's why Ed's my number four.
And I do agree with you on that one with him pretty much doing anything possible to do to accomplish something that he wants to do. Like I remember when he would pretty much he would go to lengths just to try to get a philosopher. I can't say it, but the stone. Fuck, I butchered that so hard. But he would pretty much do anything just to get the stone. And then now when he found out, how you were saying that he had to sacrifice someone. Like I like how he just diverse from it. He's like, you know what, we can't do this. Like, but then again, like he was still destined. Like, hey, there's got to be a way. Like it's just not the only one. There's always a way to do something. So that's what makes him badass. And also, that's development. Naruto fans, take notes. Development. But yeah, and so my number three. it's Edward, so not really much to say about that since you already pretty much said anything. But I guess I could say that for sure. Shout out to Vic. I know we mentioned him on our dub video, but huge shout out to Vic because Edward's dub voice is for sure hands down one of the best ones to ever grace anime and dub. But what's your number two, Ryan?
My number two, I'm on my third one, my guy.
My bad. And what's your number three?
My number three, it fits into the category of OP main characters, and that's like they could be anything. Like from if you watch sports, it could a sports anime. It could be a player that's really good, or if you just watch Shonen strictly, it's like Saitama. But in this case, my number three, my overpowered main character that I'm talking about, who's just one of my favorite MCs in general, is Alucard from Helsing. And now, when I say that this man is the main character of the show, like I know a lot of people, it's a if like for example, if you took Ed out of the context of his show, you could still have like a story. Maybe not the Full Metal Alchemist, but you could have like a story about alchemy and all these other characters. Yeah, but Ed wouldn't be in there. But Alucard from Helsing, Dracula, is literally the focal point of this entire show. And usually OP characters are done horribly wrong. Superman, but Alucard is done such a beautiful way that he wants to be defeated. He wants to die because he's just been so powerful and he's this dark entity for all these years that he wants to die, but not by anyone's hands. He doesn't want to die to a vampire. He doesn't want to die to a werewolf. He wants to die to a human because he thinks that after all his years of being this dark, evil entity, that the only thing that can beat him is a pure human. Nothing special, no God given powers, no nothing. He just wants to fight a human, a man, and to be defeated by a man because he thinks that the human race is the only one worthy enough to defeat him. And that just speaks volumes from him at the beginning of his story, where he was Vlad the Impaler, who just didn't care about humans, only thought they were used for cattle, to now believing that his food was the only people capable enough to kill him. And that's not all. He develops in the way with Ceres Victoria, his little sidekick. He even says when he turns her, his Sarantegra, his master, says, "Why did you turn her?" And he says, "Maybe it's time that a vampire does not walk alone through the night," saying that he was tired of being by himself and he saw how humans interacted with each other and how lucky they were to have someone. So he just wanted to have someone or create a vampire like him that would be able to have someone. And he's just such a cool character. Plus, he's badass looking, and he's just so cool and so p. And everyone is trying to be him. That is the literal main focus, and he wants it to happen. So it actually plays very well with him being this super overpowered character. And that's my number three. Leo, what's your number two?
So before I go on my number two, that's you saying oh he pretty much wants to be beaten by human because there's the only race. Going a little off topic, that kind of remind me of One Punch Man, where I remember when they were trying to figure out why Saitama was so so super OP, and pretty much he was pretty much explaining like yeah you could have your cyborg inputs, you could be a monster, you could have like like scientific shit done on you, but he was like no, he's the only reason why us humans are stronger is because we could change ourselves, and that stuck by me. But my number two, it's going to be surprising one for all of you. I'm pretty sure it was surprising for Ryan when I was first sent on my list. But when you could be a fan of something, but you gotta know there's better stuff out there. There's better, well written characters, and that's why Naruto fans are whack. But my number two is Goku, Kakarot, or Son Goku, whatever you want to call him, the main man who pretty much paved the wave for all pretty much MC characters in general. I'm pretty sure if you see every MC character in anime, at least a teeny bit will be influenced from Goku. Or like if you're Naruto, just take the whole fucking character and just make him into a bratty kid. And pretty much Goku follows that category as Ryan was talking about, like the hard-working characters. And if you guys say, "What do you mean hardworking, dude?" He was born with the power level of 2. And in his world, those kind of babies are just sent to a remote planet and just left pretty much to die because they pretty much failed the, you know, the genetics of like the powerful Saiyan. So let's say if you're like King Vegeta and you have like a fucking kid like that was Goku, they would for sure wouldn't give a shit where they'll send that baby to. They just send whatever. And Goku pretty much fits into that hardworking, proved your guys wrong because now I'm the strongest of my kind. And I had an argument today with some fucking Naruto fans saying, name a character. I don't know why he said this, but I guess having the most transformations makes you cool. So he was defending Naruto, saying he has all these forms. So name a character that has more transformations, and he was weak as hell in the beginning. I'm like, Goku, and he goes, dude, Goku's OP. I'm like, no, now he is, but when he first started, he was a kid. He he was a power level 2. That's low in the Dragon Ball universe. Power level 2. And pretty much seeing his journey from a kid all the way to now is proof that he is a hard-working Saiyan raised on Earth and pretty much one of the first Saiyans to ever be kind because Saiyans are a brute force of a race that they just kill anything in sight that's not their own. And Goku was that different where he's pure-hearted, he cares for his family, he wants to protect his world. And I think what makes Goku such a great character is there's a video about him called the flat character and why it always works in any kind of show or movie that you're watching. The flat line character always works. It's a video by a YouTuber called Totally Not Mark. You should look him up. I'll leave his video in the description. It's really good. But not ignoring that, but pretty much saying like the reason why he's so strong is because he has the mindset of there's always someone stronger, which is the whole reason why Vegeta can't catch up to Goku because Goku is worrying about the next fight, while as Vegeta, well not now, but before Vegeta was just worrying about trying to get stronger than Goku, which is the reason why he can never get stronger than Goku because he's not worrying about his own motto or not his own motto, but like doing his own thing. Whereas Goku's like, yeah, I'm pretty much always thinking about the next. There's always a stronger fighter than me, so I'm gonna be training until he's the most OP guy in the world. But he's always has a mindset where there's always someone stronger. While Vegeta's like, I'm trying to beat Kakarot, and then now if you read the manga of Super, they both have their own separate goals now. So Vegeta has his own separate goals. He's gonna do it his way, and then Goku has there's always someone stronger. And then now, I would I would say they're both pretty equal in power. Like if they were to fight full out, I feel like it would end in a stalemate, or Vegeta might have the upper hand. But Goku is pretty much your blueprint. He's the blueprint of main characters in anime. He's your hardworking Saiyan. He's pure-hearted. Um, he's very friendly, makes friends pretty much to anyone. He made two of the biggest villains to friends. I would love to see him be a teacher to someone. Like I know he was a teacher to Oob in the ending of Z, but like I want to see that play out. Like I want to see like the whole thing because GT doesn't count. Don't fucking tell me GT counts because it doesn't count. But I want to see him play into a sensei role, like when he's like oldish, and I want to see like what he would teach the student because he's stupid as hell. But he's when it comes to fighting, he's like fucking Einstein when it comes to fighting. But Goku Kakarot, Son Goku is my number 2. Ryan, you're next, bro.
Okay, so some people are. I feel like some people are going to be pretty upset at this because he's new to the game, but if you read the manga and you watch the anime, you'll understand. So my number 2 is actually Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. And when I was talking about those categories, I think he is actually in a as a I'd call him like the learner. I'd pretty much say that they're too blind to understand what's actually going on eh, to um, to really develop, and that's how we see Thorfinn at the beginning of the series. We first see him as this little naive kid who wants to battle it out. He's like, I just want to be a great warrior like my dad. Well, then he kind of goes to war. He sneaks onto a warship and goes to war, sees his dad die, and swears vengeance upon it. And it's vengeance upon the man who killed his father, pretty much. And then he ends up building a kinship with the guy who killed his dad. and he like actually starts to care for him and believes that he's the only one who should be able to defeat him or to kill him rather than he's like, I'm the only one who gets to kill him. I'm the only one who gets to kill him. So he's constantly saving him and building this relationship. And you can see that the guy who killed his dad is actually teaching him, and they're building this relationship. And at the end of the first season, you just see it all pretty much get taken away from him, and everyone in the show's ideal change, like Thorfinn's and all the other side characters change, and he still doesn't even understand what his purpose is. I mean, the whole purpose of the story is to like, what is a true warrior? To find out what's that. And Thorfinn at first thinks it's a warrior who can kill, but now he's not sure what he is, what his dad was trying to tell him, if he is a warrior, or if he's not a warrior. And so I think, and if you read the manga, which is way ahead of the anime, thank God, um, it's amazing, you know, with what, and we get to see him actually develop. Like we get to see him like the first time we see him, he's like a tiny child. I would say maybe, I think he was like 8 years old, and we get to see him at 11, 14, and then all the way up until he's a grown man, like in his 30s. We actually see him develop and grow into an amazing character. But yeah, without going into too many more spoilers, that's all I'm gonna say about Thorfinn. He's my number two because I think he has the most potential right now out of all the others. What's your number one, bud?
It's honestly a good thing that I wasn't paying attention because I'm actually trying to watch Vinland Saga, so I'm glad I didn't hear any spoilers from you. But before we go into number one, we're gonna talk about our honorable mentions and maybe say a little bit about the characters. So my honorable mentions is gonna be Shigeo Kageyama, which is Mob from Mob Psycho. Just your, very shy kid. He's hard to make friends. He's trying to impress a girl, but he's also trying to find a way in life because he's like, well, pretty sure one of the most OPS like telepathic users or psychics is what they call it in the show. He's one of the most powerful psychics in the show, and pretty much he's trying to find himself in the world. And it's super satisfying how it plays out from the beginning to the end. My next one is Saitama, One Punch Man. Pretty much, here, let me ask you a question, Ryan. Do you think Saitama's a hero?
Well, yeah.
Because there's an argument that he's not a hero. There's people that believe that he's not a hero. And if you look up the definition of a hero, pretty much what it means is someone who is willing to sacrifice everything to save, something or a person, whatever. So I'll tell them, okay, well, what did Saitama sacrifice to be a hero? He sacrificed emotions, so he can't feel happy, sadness. He can't feel the thrilling adrenaline of having a really good, fight. Because if you see him Lord Boros, he didn't even phase. Of course, he's One Punch Man, he's OP, but he pretty much sacrificed that to have the power in the world to be a hero. And another good example of that was when he defeated the Deep King Sea or Deep Sea King. There's a part when after he beats him, and then someone's saying, "Oh, he's a fraud because he's doing everything." He goes, "Yeah, you're right." He was like, "All these heroes wore him down, so and I got all the credit." So he's willing to sacrifice his um his image just so he could be the hero. So if someone says, "Hey, you suck," he's like, "Cool, don't care, man. I'm just doing this to save people." So he's willing to let you talk shit to him, even though you saved it, like he saves you. So I think he's a hero. Also, another honorable mentions Deku. Not much to say about that because fucking Ryan already said about him. And another one, I'm pretty sure not a lot of you know of, Evilio. He's the main character from 91 Days. It's a little mafia, I guess, like bootlegger type of anime. Really good. I'll recommend it. It's like an 8 out of 10 for me. But he's like one of your Spike Spiegels, but he's more serious. He doesn't really smile much. He's not really goofy. He's more just of a serious character. But pretty much the whole story is him trying to get revenge. It's a pretty good revenge story, Um, pretty sad how the way it plays out in the end. But I'll let you guys watch that. But that's my honorable mentions. What's your honorable mentions, bud?
So for me, I got Spike. Um, Senku for me, definitely Tanjiro for me as well. Um, I can't think of anyone really else off the top of my head that I would say is my honorable mention. But what's going on, dude? What's your number one? Let's hear him.
All right, and for this honorable mentions, Naruto. No, I'm just kidding. No, my number one is going to be Senku from Naruto. And reason for him to be my number one is because he's not your typical MC as pretty much all on our whole list. My bad. He's more of the smart. He's a scientist guy, so he's smart. So instead of fighting and thinking of it as they're fighting, he has like a whole plan that's like out on the map, and he would pretty much predict your shit, which pretty much like a Sherlock's Holmes type thing where like the movie Robert Downey Jr. He's like, all right, do that, and then do this. So that's what Senko pretty much does, where he would write it down and then he would do it after, and pretty much like the journey of like him starting off to be one of the first ones to no, he's not the first ones to wake up, but like pretty much from having nothing to pretty much owning a village is a very satisfying story. And like when you might think, oh, it's just all scientist shit, that's boring. No, dude, it has you on your feet like watching this show. It's really good. Highly recommend Dr. Stone. It's like for sure gonna be like on top of there as like the top 5 best gen like anime out right now. But like I miss him, and I keep forgetting the side character's name, but like that little duo, that's gonna be a future badass duo. Like I know for sure. And I saw a glimpse of him in the ending of the season. I'm like, thought we were gonna see him, but I'm like, no, I wanted more of this guy because it has Mira's voice and it fits him perfect. And then also like they have these like little test area, not test areas, like of what they to get one item. So like let's say if they want to get like the medicine for the princess, like they have this whole plan planned out, and like the way they do each step and the things they need to do to get that item. It's a very satisfying watch. And second season to be Stone Wars, pretty much science versus Tsukasa's army. It's gonna be a hell of a season. Can't wait for it. But Ryan, what is your number one?
So my number one, as I said, each of my characters fit into or each of my choices fit into a specific category of MC. So this one, I just call it the perfect MC. All right, and you guys know who it is. He eats a lot. He wears an orange jumpsuit. He's blonde. He only uses two moves.
All right, we're
I
gonna stop it there, guys. Hope you guys have a good one.
Obviously, it's not Naruto. Holy shit, that he sucks. Anyways, my real number one, the real MC that every MC, in my opinion, should aspire to be is Guts from Berserk. My God, I know you guys are probably tired. Like, can you talk about another manga series? No, I can't. I can't because let's talk. He is just so amazing. Well, first of all, we see him grow from a literal baby to a man. We get to see him go through highs and low, him wanting to earn his surrogate father's love, then being betrayed by his surrogate father, killing his surrogate father, wanting to die, finding a reason to live, then losing that reason, finding another reason to live, swearing vengeance. Like you just see him go through so much and develop so much. He's never the same character he was in one arc as he was in the last. Like if you took him in the Golden Age arc, he's a different person than he was in the Black Swordsman. You took him from the Black Swordsman to the Lost Child, different person. He is constantly evolving, and he just brings out the best in all of his side characters, the story in general, and he even brings out the best in the villain. Like the villain wouldn't be as good in the show if it wasn't for Guts being the one who was standing opposite for him. Guts is just the whole story and amazing. He has probably one of the best power ups in all of manga and anime, the Berserker armor, and it just adds to the story. It makes him so much better as a character. Like there's not enough you could say about this story. There's not enough you could say about Guts. He's just such a good MC, and really should be the standard for all MCs to come. He's hardworking. At points, he's overpowered. He's constantly evolving. He understands loss. He wants to learn. He's all of the categories I had mentioned before in one MC, and he is that good.
All right, so That's our top 5 MC list. So I got Tanjiro, Spike, Edward, Goku, and Senku.
I had Deku, Edward, Alucard, Thorfinn, and Guts.
All right, so we do have a little bit of time left. So I did tell Ryan that we do have some time left. We're gonna mention one anime show that we have the most anticipated for. So it could either be a new season or just a completely new anime coming out in general. So for me, I saw a trailer of it and it really caught my attention. And I'm gonna start reading the manga sooner or later. But it's called Jujutsu Kaisen. It seems kind of like a demonish kind of manga, but it's the same animated studio that did My Hero seasons like I think 1 through 3. They did the animation, so it looks really good. Story looks good. It's getting a lot of hype right at the moment, but that's my most anticipated show.
Yeah, usually I would say it's My Hero Academia, but honestly, I'm more anticipated for Vinland Saga season 2, just because season 1 was so amazing, the manga is so good, and the adaptation is just so good, and the music is awesome. So I'm really looking forward to Vinland Saga season 2 for sure. Definitely not looking forward to Fire Force season 2, but video for a different day.
All right then. Well, that's been the Gamer and the Weeb podcast. My name is Leo. You can find me at @PhoneDLeo on Instagram and Twitter. Ryan.
My name is Ryan. You can find me on Instagram at Pandemic Murph, and don't forget to go check out our new Instagram page, the Gamer and the Weeb, the Gamer _and_ the Weeb on Instagram. Go check it out, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yep. So next video will probably be because it really pissed me off. So next video will for sure it's anime related. It's gonna be pretty much what what a character development should have, plus probably what a time skip is used for and what it should do. And
How about to write Naruto?
yeah, yep. I'm pretty sure a good amount of just be us shitting on Naruto like always. But hey, it's our podcast. If you don't like it, go subscribe to a Naruto podcast. That all you say is, dude, Shadow Clone or Rasengan, bro. Am I right? And that's the whole video. But whatever, eh? Catch you guys later.
All right. Well, this has been the Gamer and the Weeb podcast, the only podcast that hasn't even reached its final form. Signing off.